like the funny thing about reaching out to Dom to start with is that I drew a comic book, co-created a comic book called Jump Punch, and our lead character is a parkour expert. I'd been hanging to watch Physical Asia, since the ads first came out. And when I saw Dom come onto the show, I'm grinning ear to ear immediately because I'm like, this is a real life Joe. And then it was on to me pestering him online. And he's like, well, if you can beat me in a parkour race across the rooftops of Sydney, we can go ahead. I did that, and here we are. So...
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty quick. Yeah. You wouldn't think that he is, but he's pretty deceiving like that.
Yep. No, really appreciate it, Dom. Like, I mean, yeah, thanks for being such an awesome sport and like responding to the artwork I put online and responding to the requests and everything. Really appreciate it. So fantastic.
Yeah, man. I mean, as a contestant on the show and a fan of the show, I didn't expect the response to be so huge. And with all things like your artworks and the positive responses that were coming in, I'm just like absolutely blown away. And because I've been on Instagram my whole career, it's been exactly what I do. I'm really like tapped into all the media that's coming out, and I'm really on top of all the posts that are coming through. So getting a bit of reputation for being chronically online, but it's my job.
Well, you're going against the grain of being also highly active and also chronically online, so there's a good balance there, you know. Like,
yeah, it's usually the travel times between the active that, you know, that's how I get my online time in, is during my travel times. Right. I still don't drive. I don't have a license, so a lot of time to sit and I trust my legs more than I trust vehicles, really, at the end of the day.
So for those that are unaware, as well as chatting here with Dom, Dazza is also doing a sketch that is going to be, all the proceeds are going towards the National Breast Cancer Foundation.
So we're leaning towards Spidey as the theme tonight. Spidey's like what started my whole journey into comics and what's like the inspiration for creation of Joe and Jump Punch. So we're doing a full detailed pencil sketch of Spidey that I will ink and color also. So whoever wins the bid on this will get a full penciled image along with a printed inked and colored version as well. And yeah, we'll also have some digital comics of Jump Punch up for grabs as well, where we'll donate a portion to the charity as well. We want to kind of make a big splash with this, but yeah, so I'll give you some updates as we go through the stream, but let's start pestering Dom with questions.
Yeah, beauty. First of all, what's the starting bid, Daz?
Oh, I don't know. Who's keen on a fresh original pencil drawing?
Surely we can start at. Sure, we can start at 10. I reckon 10. Come on, surely at least 10.
Cool. All right,
double digits. Otherwise,
we'll start it at $10, and it's going to be running until Sunday night. Stay tuned for AussieVerse on Instagram to find out who wins. It will be closing this Sunday night at 8 p.m. Melbourne time. So last bid on the Dom interview post that we have recently put up yesterday. You can bid under that and also bid tonight as well. Dom, if you don't mind, guys, I'm going to ask the first question. Dom, for people new to your work, how do you describe what it is that you do?
I mean, in layman's terms, I basically jump on and off things, and that is somehow a career. I somehow unlocked touching bricks with my extremities as a career. But really, parkour is about learning to use your body. It's about being strong to be useful. It has like a lot of kind of history or basis in martial arts foundations, and the ethos is quite similar to that. But then at the same time, it is a street sport that you see many people taking out in different cities and exploring the architecture and the environment in a different way. I think there's an element of self-expression that's really important and really encouraged within the sport. But overall, it is just fundamentally learning how to overcome obstacles with your body.
Fantastic. We have a starting bid right here, $10, KJB. Good work.
Let's go.
Good work, mate. Thank you. Well done. So, Dom, obviously with parkour, there was a bit of an explosion there for a while. Has it sort of remained consistent, or is it still like a growing sport?
I think there was that initial burst in the early 2000s, right around when I started. We had Casino Royale, we had the BBC documentaries, Jump London, Jump Britain, that came out in succession. And there was a lot of wind with YouTube being created and people being able to upload these videos to the internet. And suddenly there was this little community that was happening from the forums all the way through into YouTube and the main media that really gave us a big push. There was a really quite a long period of time, I would say, till 2014, 2015, where things were really on that up before we started to see it plateau in the amount of athletes that were doing it and also the turnover of the original and older athletes that were doing it. I mean, if you're doing it, 5, 7 days a week, as much as you can, hanging out with your friends every day, it stunts you from then being able to get a job or, create an income if you're just doing it that way. So we see a lot of people who get to their mid 20s, they've had a good run, they've enjoyed the journey, and then decide to, take some steps into real life, which I think is very important. But so for a while, we saw a plateau there. And then in 2019 to 2021, there was like another spike that was happening. But as COVID kind of hit end of 2020 and into 2021, things were a little bit, interestingly enough, like in the community and the amount of people practicing, we were less, but the connectivity online and the response to anyone who was doing anything online was huge because I guess so many more people were doing it observedly than they were actively. So it's one of those things where now we're seeing, since post-COVID, a lot more connectiveness, a lot more structure, and a lot more infrastructure in the parkour world and industry. And we are seeing like a consistent growth in the sport with numbers that are participating, but also just, federations and different bodies that are invested in the sport.
That's cool. And obviously during the COVID period, mate, would have been really interesting as well. So like, what did you do to be able to train and things with? I mean, I don't know whereabouts you're based in Australia, but if you're in Melbourne, all the lockdowns and everything that we had, how did you stay on top of your fitness and practice and everything?
Oh, mate, great question. Because I was very fortunate that from April 2020 till April 2021, I was in Australia, but the laws weren't at that time super restrictive. You could still go out and exercise. So I would go out with one or two friends and just really, really push ourselves really, really hard. We had like no one telling us we couldn't be anywhere and that we were, in private residence or private property of office areas because no one was there. So it was like kind of freeing in a way. And then I actually was able to fly to Turkey to begin shooting a Red Bull project in April of 2021. And then from there was able to kind of hop around the countries that had their restrictions changed and just spend 5 months away just doing some of the hardest high level parkour I've ever done. So I didn't suffer the same as a lot of people here in Australia. When I got back, I had to kind of comprehend that everyone else had just been isolated this entire time and I'd just gone off and had the time of my life. So I'd meet up with people and be like, I haven't seen you in 6 months. And they're like, yeah, I haven't seen anyone in 6 months. Like, yeah, so it was a different experience for me personally. But I think for a lot of practitioners, you were able to kind of hone in on your own journey in parkour and how you kind of practice by yourself or with fewer numbers than as opposed to these huge collaborative jams that we get to.
Yes.
It sounds like there was no COVID restrictions for you since you've been traveling, and you mentioned about journey. What about your personal journey? How, like, for someone who doesn't know who you are, how did you start?
So growing up, I did figure skating to quite a high level, and I think that gave me a lot of tools and understanding of like what it takes to be a national level or high level athlete in your sport. A lot of lessons through discipline, lessons through training, lessons through coaches that I had who taught me a lot of things. And then I was going to a performing arts high school when I moved to Sydney, and I saw parkour on YouTube. I was looking up ninja videos from Naruto and that sort of thing. And then I found parkour and I was like, whoa, wait, you can just do that? Like you're allowed to just do all the things from an action film like chase scene. You don't have to shoot the guns or fight the villains. You can just like do jumping. And I found a video that was called Russian Climber Parkour Video. And it was a guy, Oleg Vorslav, that gave us this kind of pathway into, and a lot of people's first video of parkour in my generation was this video. It was like a huge thing for the parkour community. And so that I instantly went out of my lunch break and tried it. And then I've basically done it every day that my body will allow me since. I just found like, to put it
Wow.
puritanically, it was like my calling. Like, you know, the thing I'm supposed to be doing with my life is parkour. And then, yeah, I learned a lot of things through the sport. I would say I was a little bit more egotistical and self-important when I first came into the sport, and I very quickly learned kind of the guiding messages of like supporting others, inclusiveness, and I was quite ostracized as a kid, so I felt like the parkour community was the first one to like welcome me with open arms without judgment, while still being able to teach me important life lessons and values.
Well, I'm going to jump in right there. I think that,
Yeah,
that was one
please.
thing I really enjoyed about the Australian team, but like yourself, especially on the Physical Asia, like you guys were congratulating everyone on a job well done.
Yep.
And I love that. Like I'm a teacher at a primary school, and we try to talk about that all the time. So I thought it was fantastic to see such high level competition of athletes who are competing in the highest level of their game. Oh, just good job. You know, we lost, whatever, great. That was a great, whatever, you know, it was just fantastic vibe that you guys brought to the show, I thought. And it really changed it up from the previous seasons as well. So that was a lot of fun to watch and quite wholesome as well, you know, a good value
Yeah.
to kind of
A lot of mutual respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you know, we were getting touted as kind of like a very arrogant and cocky team in the beginning.
Right.
But I think the difference there is that as much as we have self-confidence and we would pedestal ourselves, we're also the first people to pedestal every other contestant, because what we're taught in Australian sportsmanlike conduct is you can talk trash on the field, but you will live and die by the respect that you have for the other players and everything they've given to the game.
Yeah.
And really, this insane journey and this insane show that we're on, we're the only ones that experience that like physical and mental trauma together. And so you kind of form this bond and this undying respect for the other players. And that was really happening more and more along the way.
Yeah, great.
So for those that don't know, Dom actually has his own YouTube channel as well. The link is in the description. Go check that out because it has a lot of really, really cool stuff all about himself and parkour. And on top of that, you can also go check him out on his own Instagram channel. It is right here at Dom Tomato as well, where it also has, I mean, just look at that thumbnail.
Where is he going? Look at that little dot.
You do have a big social media presence here. Get Cliff says, turned into all confidence with no arrogance. Couldn't ask for a better bloke to represent the Australian spirit. That's
thank you so much. Thank you.
And Dom was a pirate in Physical Asia. I think that's a compliment.
It may be referring to me stealing the crates in the shipwreck quest. I did cop quite a bit of hate for that, but it wasn't against the rules. It was just like the interesting thing, and the show doesn't quite play this out in the editing as much, but both Soichi and I would have been finished all of the crates. Like we were some of the only teams to finish all of the crates with 6 minutes to go. So we've been going back and forward for 14 minutes so consistently. I managed to be 2 boxes ahead of Soichi, and that's when I got there. I looked at the clock. There was 6 minutes left. And so I was either supposed to stand there and be like, cool, guys, keep loading those bags. Or if I saw more crates that were on the field, just take their crates. I mean, they're not theirs, but actually, guys, if you could take the crates that happen to be on Japan's side, but are actually I'm not going to yell that. That's too many words. Just get really specific with it. But that's, you know what? I don't mind. I think the way it plays out in the edit is fun.
I love that. I was grinning at that moment when he's like, take those ones too. I was like, yes, do it. You know, I was like, that's awesome.
I think there is Sorry, I was going to say there's just a cultural difference between some of the different countries and how it's perceived. I think in Australia, it's good game strategy. Possibly in other countries, it's not considered as so. And just understanding that once you've been on the show is a really interesting experience as well.
Sure.
for those that have just jumped in, Dazz, sorry, is still drawing his Spider-Man sketch. For those
Give
that
us some
have
progress.
seen AussieVerse before, you know his sketches are absolutely insane. And right now it is going for $10 with KJV.
See if we can up that.
So let's get it up there, guys. The highest, what's the highest one we've gotten before, Dazza? 150?
150.
150 USD was the
150 USD.
the
There you go.
Damn. I'm sure
All
we can beat
proceeds-
that. Come on, chat. Let's beat that. Let's get it up
All
there.
proceeds are going towards the National Breast Cancer Foundation as well.
and we post internationally, so that's consider that too.
Yes,
Yeah.
if you're tuning in from overseas, you're very much welcome to bid as well.
Somebody from AussieVerse just put $20. I don't know who is that. You, Steve?
Yeah, of course.
Hey.
Okay. All right. So I'll update that then. While I update that, please let us know, Dom, you're known for going big, really big. How do you calculate risk when you're about to attempt something absolutely insane?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting topic, really, because I would say I have a very high tolerance to risk, but that's through years and years and years of practicing the same skill for a very long time. And I do consider fear and risk to be like a skill that you can learn. That risk management and tolerance doesn't just happen. You know, you can be a confident person and still be very terrified of what the consequences of something are. I mean, that's probably the more logical pathway, really, is to actually be worried about consequence, which I don't seem to suffer from as much, weirdly, but that's just been my personality since I can remember. I think the thing that is usually going through my head is self reinforcement and telling myself that I can do it, especially in something where I know maybe the mechanics are quite simple, but the risk might be very, very high. And so I like if I don't make it, the consequences of that are dire. So during those moments, I have kind of a little pre-ritual of what I call working out the math. So I will do as close as I can a replica jump of the same shape, make sure that the jump, flip, whatever it is, feels the same way it normally does and how it has for the last 10 years. And also that I can aim and put the trajectory where I need to. If it's like a short, tight gap, I need to know I can land in that space. And often you'll see parkour athletes kind of putting like a shirt on the ground as like the wall and practicing jumping and spotting it first before they go and do the big challenge. It's not just that 7-second clip you see online. There's a lot of pre-thought, pre-game, pre-existing training that's going into that moment. But there is always like a 5 to 10% jump at the end, or leap of like faith, as it were, where sometimes something's just not going to feel any more comfortable, and sometimes you're pushing into the unknown, and you kind of have to trust that all the other times you've taken that leap and pushed yourself past that limit, it has gone exactly how you predicted. And then you take that as kind of self-reinforcement and, you know, positive experience that goes hand in hand with like leading up to that moment. And then for me, my personal one is stomp my feet, say, all right, ready, for whoever's usually recording, and then 3, 2, 1, quite loud and quite to the point. And by the time I hit 1, I'm going and I'm having fun, and I don't know anything else that exists. It's just me and this jump. Like really dials me in. But that's like a practiced ritual over time.
Fair enough. Like
Wow.
any super talented athlete or musician, Dom makes it all look easy. And you know what else is easy? Joining AussieVerse's memberships. These are the people that support AussieVerse each and every single month. If you want to get some perks, if you want to join an Instagram chat, get some free stuff, join AussieVerse now by clicking the link in the description. Otherwise, the best way to support AussieVerse is simply by subscribing to the channel, liking the videos, and commenting.
So I was jumping in there, like I was listening to on another stream, John, where you were talking about how you talk about widening your skill set like you would a tent, and I thought that was how you expand the poles.
I seem to have lost audio.
Oh.
I cannot hear.
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, there, it's come back. I think I just couldn't hear Dazza.
Right. So you were talking about
Yeah, still can't hear Dazza.
Can you hear
Sorry,
everyone
mate.
else?
Not sure what's going on.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, you can hear me.
Hmm.
Thumbs out.
Yeah.
Might have to do just my connection. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. Or do you want to relay it like he was?
Do we want to do like a relay where you guys tells you and then bring it down?
Let's do
I was
that.
talking about Dom had an analogy of widening your skill set by expanding your tent, like by widening the tent poles. And I was wondering how you might coach a young parkour athlete who wants to do the highest skill things but has to start at a low level. Do you want to relay that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
waiting for Steve to relay that.
Oh, no pressure. So Dazz has pretty much just asked, mate, like obviously you might work with some younger people who are interested in parkour and they just want to kind of go right off the top to start with. And how do you talk them down, so to speak, to say, hey, you know what, you need to start on the bottom, work your way up. It's like anything that you learn, you've got to start early. How do you approach them with that? Because obviously some people will be like, no, I can do this. I've watched the videos.
It's actually a less common problem than you would think. The thing is, it's really hard to fake or like just go up to that ledge and jump without any training. It really like your mind completely stops you from doing that thing. So there'll be people who, sometimes will do if they're walking past and they do a little jump and they'll jump over a park bench and even trip over the so they're like, parkour, and then poof, crap. I'm like, like it's yes, on principle, it is very easy to do a jump, and we all, in our childhood have experienced climbing and jumping over things in that way. But when it comes to doing something actually tough or physically scary, they'll stand on the edge and they go, "Oh, I'm not doing that." Like it's instantaneous. And parkour essentially is training yourself out of that skill. So early on, like the fundamentals, you're very, very scared and it's very, very hard. And by the time people usually get to a level where they are comfortable to send outside of their comfort zone, then they're not like in a position where it's all new to them and they don't understand. And you can kind of have that conversation of like, okay, now that we're here, let's progress these things properly because you've seen in your experience so far that it is terrifying and it does take a lot of like physical and mental work to get to this middle period. And then by the time they get to the middle period, the talking down is a lot easier because they've experienced enough to know, oh, I could break my leg if I do this wrong. Like,
Mm.
I think I've done it for such a long time that the human body is nowhere near, my human body is nowhere near as fragile. And I know all the ins and outs of falling over, where I'm going to be in space, proprioception. But generally speaking, the human bodies can be very fragile, and especially if they haven't trained in landing, jumping, falling, just as a skill, that's
Mm.
when it can be a real dangerous mix of things.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to ask you the second most important question of the night, Dom. What's your favorite Spider-Man movie?
Cool. For me, it's still the original. This is a controversial take, but Tobey Maguire in the first Spider-Man movie was just the epitome of Spider-Man to me. I think that's when I was most obsessed with the character of Spider-Man. And so it holds this nostalgic place in my heart.
Yeah.
Okay, we
Fair
got
enough.
approval from the crew. But yeah, that's just
I can't argue that one, man. I can't argue that
it's a good movie. This one, fly. Like it's just he just nails that
Shazam!
the whole it's just and I think because at that time as well, if you think about the landscape of comic book movies, that was so early in the game. There was so few, so like rare that all of the things that we love about modern comic book films weren't tropes at that stage. They were fresh, they were new ideas. And I think, that's why for me it was so iconic, is because at the time I hadn't seen anything like it. And as someone who's obsessed with movement, Spider-Man was like the ultimate, like god of movement in that way. Being able to take it to like unbelievable, ridiculous heights.
Mm-hmm.
Have you also, I'm sure this is a yes, but have you also seen that clip that I have to watch like at least once a month, because whenever I'm really depressed, I just put that on and it makes me so happy. The Office parkour skit bit, right? Like, I don't know about you, man, but like that's one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. I just love that.
I mean, it is unanimously people's like first reaction when I say I do parkour. They're like, "Oh, like fuck off!" But
Yeah.
it actually, hilariously enough, I'm on quite good terms with it because I see it in my everyday life as well. It's probably one of the most top commented things on all of my social media. It's just the gif of him rolling on the couch. But really, it actually did a disservice to the sport in its credibility because it made us a bit of a gimmick. It made us a bit of a joke, and it was really hard to then climb back up out of that, stereotype of what parkour was for a long time. Like it's great because in a certain light, everybody suddenly understood what the sport was. Like parkour, the jump over stuff, cool. They get it, and it gave us like a lot of spotlight in that way. But it also very much tore down like the opinion of what a parkour person is. I think if you look at that portrayal and then the portrayal that Physical Asia did of parkour, they're very different looking beasts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're preaching to the choir here. I'm a massive wrestling fan, so I've been trying to convince people my whole life the real beauty behind professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Not the stuff that I hear every day. So believe me, I do get it.
Yeah, there's something about those niches that it's like the thing. If you love it, you love it. If not, you probably don't get it.
Yeah.
I'm going to bid 30 now, Steve, because I just realized I don't own anything by Dazz. So if I can steal at least $30, I will.
I'll make it 40 then.
No, we don't want to have it. Just I'll give you guys a print of it. We don't want to have it.
Kill it.
Just bidding here. I'll do 150 on it.
Well, Steve said 40, so he's in the lead now.
Okay.
The race is on.
It's a pissing contest between all these people.
What's something people don't realize about filming parkour content?
Especially when I work on small jobs that haven't filmed with people who have kind of an idea. They're very good with the camera, but they might not have filmed parkour before. Is that what usually you would shoot in a cinematic or traditional style is basically incorrect for parkour, because with parkour and shooting it for real, the biggest thing you actually want to show is information. The angle might not be the most flattering or it might not be the most visually engaging, but what I found the biggest response, if you want to translate what you're doing to an audience, you want to show them the details, whether that be a sketchy takeoff or showing the full height of it from a side profile as opposed to necessarily like a wide angle underneath. The most common thing I hear is I'll go to a job and they're like, "Oh, so I'm going to stand on the floor and then you can like flip over me." I'm like, what is that going to tell anyone? My head's going to go past the camera, and then that's like, and sometimes they'll lay on the floor and be like, "Can you do it on the floor?" I'm like, yes, but you're not going to get what you think you're going to get out of that. It's not going to be some hero shot of like them jumping. And even from that, even if you are super far underneath and shooting up under a jump, you're only going to get the moment that they take off, and then when they're in the air. You're not going to get the information of them doing the run up and the landing and why it's actually terrifying. So biggest tip I can give to parkour, anyone who wants to shoot parkour, shoot it from slightly above and show all the information underneath as much as possible.
We have a question here from user Dom. How are your joints surviving the stunts that you do?
I mean, everybody told me that my knees, hey, come on, Matty. Everyone told me my knees were going to be blown out by the time I was 30, and they were wrong. It's my ankles. I just came off 3 months of 3 months of recovering out of double ankle surgery, where I had an arthroscopy and they went in and sawed off bone spurs that have been growing to protect my joints over years, and now I have like cactuses for ankles. Like they're not. It's not just like I have a bone spur. I have like 17, 24, I don't know, in each ankle. Like they're just, Not great, to be honest. And I don't think parkour inherently does that to you. I don't think that's like something that the sport provocates. I've heard of far and few between, and often high level athletes that are like pushing themselves in terms of impact and like top level of the sport. Then they
Mm.
start to receive like potential microfractures that can lead into more. But if you're using parkour as an exercise type or as a hobby, it's fairly rare that you're going to experience the same amount of joint trauma that someone at the high end, just like any other professional sport. It's like rugby. You're not, if you play rugby on the weekends, it's nowhere near the same injuries and level that the guys who are playing full time all season are receiving. It's just there's a sliding scale. I actually think for the most part, parkour is very good for your body, but my joints are also like quite naturally big and robust. I have big hands, big thick wrists. Like my joints are bigger than my muscles, which is crazy. Um, but that sort of like bigger build and like I guess more substantial joints has given me an edge in the sport where I've been able to be a lot more durable and probably take a lot more hits than the regular athlete. And in parkour, the body type is usually a little bit smaller. So
Mm.
it's just kind of everyone's different journey through the sport will give them different advantages and disadvantages. Mine is that I can smack my body into the ground and somehow be fine.
I've noticed Sharif has the same issue. So fair enough. Yeah.
No, mine's the other way around. joints smaller than what's.
You got
They
huge
just hit the ground
muscles,
and
you
go
just got
flat.
tiny joints.
So, Dom, aside from training with your parkour and gym work and stuff like that, what sort of other things do you do to keep your flexibility up, for instance?
Well, so as I said earlier, I grew up doing figure skating.
Yep.
And from a young age, I was able to do the splits, able to kind of be in quite good range of motion with sitting reach, hip flexibility, and even just being strong in those ranges of motion. And so as an adult, or even as a teenager, I just continued stretching because I was always doing some sort of sport.
Mhm.
And so I have, a set of like 5 to 10 stretches that I would do now every 2 days. When I was dancing every day, when I started parkour, there was times where I'd be really intentional about it, and sometimes when I wasn't, when I was just lost in everything and jumping around a lot. But every time I would stretch after like, maybe not 1 or 2 weeks of not stretching, you'd be like, oh, this is the best thing ever. Why have I not been doing this the whole time? Like it's kind of this constant reinforcement for me that I don't know scientifically if stretching is the answer for every single person. Like I think everyone should try and remain as mobile as possible, and that can really be assisted through stretching.
Yep.
But
Mm.
at the end of the day, I think it's just been something that's so constant in my life, and that I was able to maintain from an early stage, as opposed to going through kind of this progressional journey with it. It's always just touching base and being like, this is good for me.
Dom, this is from Matt. Your video of your recovery and first backflip back was awesome. For me, your stunts are great, but are eclipsed by your courage and determination.
Thank you. That's very, very kind. I haven't made a YouTube video in a long time, and that was the first one back after a couple of months, right? I filmed it 30 days after the surgery and then spent a month kind of pussyfooting around and polishing it. It just, I think it's hard when you go through an injury to yearn to want to make content that revolves around your body, and revolves around your performance as an athlete. I think sometimes I can have a bit of a crisis of identity when I get injured. I've done it multiple times, and still every time it's you put so much weight on your athletic performance and how you are level wise within your peer group and your own perceived level. But every time that happens, I feel like I gain a more healthy relationship with the sport and really go back to originally why I started doing it. I like jumping on things. If I could only do lazy vaults over walls with my friends for the rest of my life, I would do it. It's just I like doing it at its core. And for me, it's a really like meditative, positive gratification, and healthy activity for the most part until I get to the high level and then somehow make it unhealthy.
So how good are you at the floor is lava?
Unbeatable, mate. That's my game.
I'd love to see that. If you could change one thing though about the parkour world, what would it be?
I would take it from being a niche into being something that is like fundamentally taught in schools, in curriculums. Learning to use your body shouldn't be something that is just designated to sport or just specified to this one outlet. I actually think we should all, from a young age, and even into our older age, practice mobility and movement and learn how to like fall, get up, get over a fence. And those things, they don't have to be a high intensity exercise type. It's just a fundamental human skill that I think we could all learn. So for me, if I could change one thing, it would, it to be not so much of this tiny little bubble that we all live in and we all are able to like expand together. But I would have it already be this huge bubble that the world is all involved in, and we're contributing to learning about the skills and techniques involved with using our human body for whatever that may be. Because I think the base in parkour can be so powerful to take you into other sports and other avenues as you get older. And also, my grandma had a fall when she was in her late 80s, and that very much accelerated her dementia and made things quite tough for her. And I feel like, you know, you can hypothesize as much as you want, but I feel like that is quite common. And if we could instill techniques and muscle memory into people for getting down and up safely, so if they do feel lightheaded, their response or internal mechanisms aren't to tip forwards or trip forwards, it's to sit down and bring your weight down your hips and your legs. You get used to bending down and protecting yourself in like a back kind of like stunt-esque fall. Like I think if we all had those skills, then they would become like muscle memory as a society. Therefore, you know, just lowering the intensity of those falls for elderly people.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a brilliant point. It's a long game. I don't know if you can hear me yet, but we can have someone relay it. It's a long game, and I work at a school, and you can see the activities and stuff that kids are allowed to do has been like lessened, been decreased. Like I'm not allowed to get a ball off a roof anymore. We actually have to have someone who's ladder qualified come in. So it's a different world, you know. We definitely need more mobility. Relay away. Thank you.
Dom, Dazz is saying that he can beat you in a fight.
Yeah, I think after the parkour run across the rooftops, I'm pretty intimidated by him in total. When he said we're going on the call, I was like, yes, sir. Absolutely, sir.
Yeah.
Hey, Dom, I've got a double-barreled question for you, mate. Where's your favourite place? I mean, obviously, you've travelled a lot. So where's your favourite place you've done parkour? And where's somewhere that you'd like to do parkour that you haven't done yet? I haven't visited yet.
So the place, if we're going really specific, there's the Santorini, Greece, the island. I think I want to say Ia. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation. But that is like a 5-kilometer square, just plethora of spots that go like down the side of the island, and there's just really nothing else visually quite as stunning, and you know, feels like you're really living that parkour life where you can travel from work to friends to the bar all on rooftops. But my favorite city to do it is favorite country to do it in is the UK. I actually think the townships around the north and south of the UK have some of the best architecture in the world, and the community is the most fleshed out, the strongest, and some of the most technically proficient athletes I know come from the UK. So I've made a lot of good friends there, and every time I'm there, I feel like my parkour skills are buffed by like 20-30% for some reason.
Dazza, how is that drawing going? That's right, we
I'll
are drawing a live sketch.
Boy, it's looking good.
That's awesome, Dad.
There'll be
so detailed.
There'll be sorry, he's meant to be upside down. There'll be a cityscape in the background and stuff. Whoops. I'll put like a little bit of a city thing in there and stuff as well. But looking good.
And
that's looking awesome, mate.
For those that aren't sure what Dazz's work is like, you can go check out Jump Punch Comics on many different platforms, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, or whatever. But if you do go to his Etsy store here, you can also buy volume number 1, the complete edition, for only just a little bit more than $13.
Yes,
And
I've read it and I can testify it's well worth the investment. So entertaining. And if you do parkour at all, it's really nice to see parkour in this medium. We don't have a lot of heroes that are specifically related to the sport, and I really got really excited reading about just the way that it's utilized and the way that it showcases the sport in comic book form, in somewhat of like a hero format as well.
Dom, I agree about recovery. I had a bad back injury years ago. They told me I wouldn't be able to walk. Thank God I'm still able to walk today. Overcoming an injury isn't simply a physical endeavor.
Yeah, spot on.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the positive mindset that you can create around recovery is super integral to it being successful. There's a lot of people that can get trapped emotionally from the fallout of something like an injury, and that's totally natural. That is a human response. I think that's not any lesser than, it's just another reaction that people have. But I think, like I said before, the aspect of fear and skill can also relate to that, and building those things up over time can be really, really integral to just getting past the situation that you're in. And if that's, related to an injury, and you need to kind of not just go through the discipline of the physicality, but the trials of the mentality, that can also be applied to so many other factors of life, stressful situations, emotional situations, be that in a relationship or self-confidence with your friends, or, different environments that you get stuck into. I think really learning to put strategies in place for you to be able to at least move forwards and try to see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel in most situations is really important.
Yeah.
So where do you
100%.
see the movement culture heading in the next 10 years?
I think we're in a really interesting stage where parkour is kind of now expanding into these multiple olive branches. We're not just having parkour, which is, A to B efficient movement, and free running, which is freestyle flipping added into that. It's more that parkour has become this umbrella for contemporary style movement and artistic expression with obstacles. And then you have these guys who are doing really, really high level tricks and pushing the sport in its rotation and twisting them out and taking it, like capping the level consistently there. But we also have a celebration of multiple styles with off-axis movement, fundamental parkour technique, speed athletes who want to focus on media and style more than that. And even we have like a sect of parkour practitioners who choose to compete in world chase tag. And that's like a great avenue for athletes who want to like have a competitive aspect to their training and really want to dial in on like that team spirit and that unity that you do create with people when you play. That's like another avenue that parkour is becoming as well. So it's an exciting time because it feels very expansive. It feels like it's all happening, and everyone who's involved in those different things is somehow still connected across the board.
Do you want to drop in and mention there's a film production studio called 87 North? Dom's probably heard of it, but they're a big promoter of physical live action fight scenes that have a parkour element. One of you guys talk about that? 87 North is the film production studio.
87 North Film Production. He wants you to talk about that. Do you know who they are?
Yes. So was working previously this year with a film production, 8711. They are the premier stunt team in the business right now. They produced John Wick, and they're working on a new film where they brought me in to do the parkour consultation and kind of recommend the realistic touch to the stunts and action they're going to be using that's parkour specific. So they have a guy that does all the falls and the big action set pieces. They have a guy who's very good, Jeremy Arenas, and he does all the fighting combat specific with the actors and all the sword play that's going to be involved in the film. Mark Maley is the stunt director for that. And then they brought me in to basically help design the jumps that are going to be used in the opening chase scene and throughout the film, so they can build the set around that. And this is a really crazy project. Chaz
Wow.
Stahelski is the director that's going to be on board, and yeah, I'm just stoked to even be a part of that. I'm hoping to go back next year while they're filming and be involved in that process as well. But Henry Cavill was injured earlier in the year, and the whole film was pushed back.
So aside from the consultation side of things, mate, have you actually done any movie work yourself?
Yes, I was in the movie Twist in 2020. It was like a modern retelling of Oliver Twist, starring Hugh Grant's son. But Hugh Grant's son? Yes, I believe that's what's his name? Jude Law's son. Jude Law's son. I'm trying to remember his name off the top of my head. I feel really bad now. Oh, it'll come to me. But yeah, Jude Law's son was the main star, and it had Rita Ora, Michael Caine, and a bunch of other very high profile actors and actresses that were involved in the film across the board. So that was really fun. I did the opening chase scene, and then Cersei from Game of Thrones killed me. That's
Dominic D.
As you claim to
Tommaso.
fame.
Yes.
Dominic D. Tommaso.
Yes, that's the correct full name. It's because my dad's friends are very Australian as well, and they were like, Dominic D. Tomato. Oh yeah, that makes D. Tomaso, D. Tomato. Yeah, you so stole the nickname from my dad.
That's so cool, man. That is so amazing.
So Australian.
Thanks very much.
I know you
Very
don't.
much.
I know you don't have that much more time left. So, guys, bid now. We are currently at $50 for this amazing sketch from Dazz. Closing bids will be this Sunday, 8 p.m. Go to Instagram, AussieVerse, and bid on that post when this show ends.
I've just realised something, mate. We haven't actually mentioned what the charity is that we're doing it for.
Yeah, at the start we briefly mentioned it, but we haven't
And
talked
we shared the
about why I
page,
chose
Steve.
it.
I'm old, forget things. Don't mind me. Look at
Pay
that.
attention.
I'm rushing in bed. Shut up.
So, Dom, what's next for you? Any big projects or challenges coming up that you're allowed to talk about?
I am really focused right now on coming back from the ankle surgery. I'd say I'm like 80-90% there with capacity and how the endurance of things, and I'm 100% of the way there with what I can do. So all the top end skills, I can like hit my impacts pretty hard. I can smash through like difficult challenges again, but I do just pull up sore. And that's gotten less and less over the last 2 to 3 weeks, where I'm at the stage where I can almost train every single day again and not pull up sore. So it's like that's been the main focus. And then going into 2026, I know that I will be doing a couple of Red Bull projects very early on in the year, hoping to go back for the filming of the project that I mentioned before with the big film with the 8711 crew. And then in the middle of the year, I'm planning to go back to Mongolia for the Nadan Festival and just experience more of the different cultures from the next, like the show that I was on.
It's funny you asked that. Do you do parkour in Mongolia? Apparently you do.
Yes, it was a very brief trip, but I managed to get a great session in with the local parkour community in Mongolia. They welcomed me with open arms, and it was a really like high energy, high intensity hour and a half. And I feel like they are much more of a united and strong community than I'd seen in a lot of different Asian countries. Parkour has sometimes got a tough time culturally getting over the line with, it being a street sport, and you essentially loitering to do the sport is not necessarily seen in positive lights or is formed in different ways. And Parkour Mongolia had this really kind of true to the old school nature of parkour and this really nice jam mentality as we went there. So I'm hoping to go back in the summer during my trip there and spend multiple days getting to know them, going out in the streets and really seeing what the architecture can offer when it's not minus 21 degrees.
Aaron's asked from his 6-year-old, Dom, your videos are wonderful. What's the best move to learn first?
The best move you can learn in parkour, and I think it's not even first, but all time, is the roll. being able to land and absorb impact into a rolling motion and disperse that momentum across the floor will give you so much awareness physically for being upside down. It will give you the ability to do higher and higher jumps, but also it's probably one of the most fun things in the world too. You're like, wee, wee. It's a good time.
Just before he goes, I think it might be important for Dom to talk about why he chose this charity. We did mention the National Breast Cancer Foundation, but maybe good to mention why we're doing it for this charity.
Okay, so he's asked why you chose this charity.
Yes. So through my father's side of the family, we carry the genetic marker for breast cancer. We got the BRCA1 gene. I have it. My sister has it. My dad has it. His mother has it. His mother actually passed away 2 weeks before his wedding, and they were trying to get married within the time period of her to be able to see her first son get married. So it's been quite an emotional point in my family for a very long time. And my sister was currently she's had a child and now is currently at a higher risk and may have to have a mastectomy and those sorts of things due to the BRCA1 gene. And then now, because I carry the BRCA1 gene, my partner and I, if we want to have kids in the future, have to look into infertilization to have the best chance of not passing on that gene. So it's like, top end, long time, all into the future kind of current awareness for me and my family. And I think it does affect the women in my family more than the men. The chances are much higher for them. And being so close to my sister, that's always been something that we've all been aware of as a family, but now I am in a position to be able to make an impact for. And so that's usually where the first thought goes and where I can make change and why I chose the charity.
Yeah, great.
Fair enough. Yeah. All right, well, let's have a word from our sponsor and we'll wrap things up. Comic Bookaroo, Australia's #1 online comic book store. Comic Bookaroo, proud sponsors of AussieVerse for all your comic book needs. Graphic novels, hardcovers, omnibuses, single issues. Don't forget to pre-order every Sunday at Comic Bookaroo. So, Dom, what's your collection look like?
I am ashamed to say that I don't have a physical collection, but because my best friend Mark's Masters has an entire physical collection at his house, I've always been able to go over there, borrow a few, take them home, and reading through. I really like. Recently, I've been reading a lot of the Walking Dead, seeing it in comic book form as opposed to the HBO series was really cool to see the difference in the storyline, Yeah, they really take it a different direction. And I also found the Boys comic fascinating for exactly the same reason. Being someone that was super into the TV series, he was like, come and see the collection here, take these with you. I was like, cool. So yeah, it's like expansion of like the universes and the different lore within each universe is really fun to learn, especially once you're hooked.
Yeah, well, if you're ever in Melbourne, mate, feel free to come over and borrow a book.
Absolutely. I would love it.
All right, good on you. Have you guys got any closing questions for Dom?
No, just, mate, thank you so much for giving up your time and joining us. Really appreciate it.
Mate, it was an absolute pleasure.
What about you, Sol and Dazz?
Well, you can't hear this, but once again, super grateful for the exactly. Appreciate it, man. That's where I'm at.
That's what I'm experiencing.
Daz said he still wants to fight you.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, you gotta let it go. I'm not that good at fighting yet.
All right, fantastic. We have one final question to ask you, Dom. It is the most important question of the night. I do not know if Dazza has worded you up, but if he hasn't, we're going to find out in just a moment. Mr. DT, would you please explain to us, if I said to you, what is AussieVerse? What would your answer be?
My version of AussieVerse is sick old comic heads who are super invested in the game and ready to share all of the knowledge with Australia and people who are interested in that life. I don't mean you guys are old heads. I mean the comics that you're into are the old heads.
I'm an old head. Look at it.
That wasn't referring to you. That was referring to the comics that you guys like to, bring forwards. Is this real old school feel with it?
All right. Well, that was a very good answer, but unfortunately it was completely incorrect because AussieVerse is and always will be for life. Thank you very much, Dom, for joining us today.
Nice.
It has been an absolute pleasure. Dazza, thank you so much for facilitating this.
Thank you,
Please
Daz.
go to Instagram now, bid on this amazing art piece. Yes, it just looks like a bunch of pencils right now, but it is going to look a hell of a lot better when it's finished. Believe that.
Yes.
That is
We will catch you next time. Dom, you've been an amazing guest. Please come back on sometime, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, guys. Really appreciate the chat.
Thank you,
You're
mate.
welcome. Stick around after this intro, Dom. We'll catch up with you. Everybody else, see you later.
Mhm.